Animal Crossing New Horizons has been described by some, well, myself at least, as perhaps the best timed video game release in the history of the medium. As pandemic lockdowns began across the world last year, this charming title provided much-needed escapism to players, and it was rewarded in kind, becoming the fastest-selling Nintendo Switch game to date, selling at last count, I think it was like a little over 31 million copies. It's currently the second highest selling Switch game of all time, and it's only been out for just over a year. Obviously, it was received extremely well at launch. Myself and many others pointed to how nice it was to just sort of zone out, collect bugs, fruit, fish, and that, but it was lacking in terms of content, things to do. The understanding was, though, that it was going to be sort of a games as a service type title where we were going to be getting these major additions added to the game at regular intervals to keep it fresh. And when discussing the game at launch, that was part of the mindset. Everyone was like, just think about how great this game is going to get, especially with it being so successful. Now that it's over a year old, though, players really haven't gotten much. Outside the occasional item sets, the same old tired reoccurring events, and needless to say, people are feeling kind of betrayed. This isn't how they thought things were going to play out. I mean, when you take a look at replies on social media to whether it be the official Nintendo account talking about Animal Crossing or the Isabelle Animal Crossing account itself, you will surely see many people voicing their displeasure with the drought in content for the game. A lot of jokes about it still feeling like an early access title. And when you compare the content, the features, the activities in that to the previous game, New Leaf, as well as the current mobile game, Pocket Camp, again, the conclusion you're going to arrive at is it's very lacking in content. And even stuff like your interactions with the villagers, their personalities and that, seemed a lot more interesting, fleshed out, and robust in New Leaf, which was a 3DS game. This just ain't it. I think what really turned a lot of players against the game was the anniversary update. I think people up to that point were mostly still in the honeymoon phase, as with any new game, it's new, so it takes a while to run out of things to do or for things to get repetitive. And also there was this assumption that, well, yeah, the game needs a lot of additions, but we're probably going to see a big content drop in that anniversary update. There was a lot of hope, a lot of hype for big content additions to happen in March. I mean, it's obvious, right? They're saving big things to celebrate the first birthday. Well, the update came and you were able to get a first anniversary cake? Isn't that exciting? Oh, they did this collaboration to bring Hello Kitty items in the game through amiibo cards that you could buy at Target. Ooh, fun, paid DLC. And those, of course, quickly sold out, so now if you want that stuff, you have to buy it at scalper prices on sites like eBay and Amazon. Oh, but they also announced this partnership with Build-A-Bear. You're going to be able to buy Build-A-Bear Animal Crossing plushes. Nothing to do with the game, but there were people that were excited about that, wondering, oh, what potential villagers are going to be made into Build-A-Bear plush. Which ones did end up getting chosen for this promotion? Oh, Tom Nook and Isabelle, who already have tons of merch being made for them, including plushes. And of course, if you did want them, don't worry, those are also all sold out, and you have to head to the secondary market to buy them. So basically, the majority of this stuff ended up being eBay exclusive content. Now, they did add some new customization options for some items, and of course, new items. Mario's Execution was kind of timed around the New Horizons anniversary, so the Mario items came into the game at that time. But again, nothing major. Adding a different color to a chair doesn't give people something to do. So fans, players were incredibly let down by that. And then just yesterday, which kind of prompted me to make this video, we got another update announcement which discussed seasonal events with, quote, new twists. Instead of new twists, they should just call it more of the same, because that's what it is. People, again, really starting to wonder when, if even, some significant upgrades like, I don't know, mini games, more upgrades for the shop, stuff like that, that can actually add more content, things to do, are going to be added to the game rather than just more stuff, items and that, which even in that regard, if you just look at things like furniture and that, the game's still lacking in terms of where it should be. Like I said, the freaking mobile game gets insane levels of updates in comparison pretty much on a monthly basis, which I know the mobile game makes that microtransaction money. That's always an excuse for, why those games get so much attention, so much content. You look at similar games like Mario Kart Tour, what does it have, like 1,000 characters to play as now? It's because they can milk people for hundreds, sometimes even thousands of dollars with some of those whales on a single game. But New Horizons, again, has sold over 31 million copies, most of which at probably the full $60 a pop. People also try to use that argument of like, oh, well, big updates cost a lot to do. Well, people have spent a lot on New Horizons already. Similar to when I bitch about Pokemon, the whole idea of resources as an excuse holds absolutely no water here. This game soared all the way to being just shy of the best-selling Switch game on the market. Not to mention you are doing things like the amiibo cards I mentioned that do generate additional income. And honestly, when it comes to New Leaf, we shouldn't even be having this comparison. Not only do I think it's completely fair to expect more from a sequel to a game like this, the point should be to build on what came before it, but New Leaf, again, was a 3DS handheld game, a system that had more restrictions in comparison to the Switch in terms of what it could do, as well as the fact that the game just cost less to begin with. It was a 3DS game, once more. There's no reason, by every metric, the Switch version should be simply blowing its predecessor away with ease. I mean, it's on the superior hardware, and it's gotten far more support from players. That's not only way more sales for New Horizons over New Leaf, but it's also at a higher price point. Once more, the resource argument, there's no argument there. The other factor, of course, is time. It takes time to make these updates, but it has been over a year now. That's plenty of time to add, I think, multiple significant updates to the game. I mean, to compare to something outside of Animal Crossing, this week, Capcom's doing a presentation for the first big update for Monster Hunter Rise, which just came out like a month ago. 1 month, and we got the first big update presentation this week. And it's like Animal Crossing, we can't get like a big update every quarter, every 2 quarters even? I mean, this is ridiculous. I think people are starting to kind of feel, sadly, that it's like Nintendo, they already got their New Horizons money, so maybe they're just going to kind of continue being lazy and let it coast. I will say there's definitely a problem there, even for Nintendo. You've clearly got a ton of new people into the series with this release. Again, worth reiterating, over 31 million copies sold so far. Many of those people are disappointed with the current direction, lack of content in the game. From what I've seen on social media, I think many have even already quit. I'd love to know in the comments if you're somebody, one of the tens of millions of people who have picked this game up, perhaps even at launch, are you still playing it? From what I've seen, a lot of those people aren't, and it's largely because there just isn't much to do. So I think Nintendo, you could have a problem here because you should be working to keep all these players happy so they become lifelong fans. You don't want a big part of your audience to be, especially new customers who bought into the hype of New Horizons and end up being let down by it and don't come back around for the next game. So obviously for the players' sake, but for Nintendo's sake as well, if they want people to stick with this franchise, not be in this mindset of like, when the next game comes out of, oh, I'm going to wait till it gets a good amount of content because I don't want to deal with the New Horizons crap. If you don't want that to happen, you better not leave people out in the cold with this. You better get some real updates out and soon. I mean, we do have E3 coming up. Maybe they've got something planned for that, but again, when you see how weak like the anniversary update is, things just aren't looking hopeful. And before I close, I want to be clear that this criticism doesn't take away from the positive aspects of the game, all the stuff that makes Animal Crossing an enjoyable experience that is in there, but I don't think people are asking for too much for this massive mega hit that broke sales records to be getting the same level of support and content as its mobile counterpart and 3DS predecessor. Come on, Nintendo. We know you can do much better than this. Anyway, with that, this video's a wrap. Let me know your thoughts on the post-launch handling of Animal Crossing New Horizons in the comments. Are you disappointed in the lack of updates? Are you someone who has since quit playing the game yourself? As always, I'm the Shy Guy, Johnny Zakari. and thanks for watching.